Healthy Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Tokwe Mark Odige, and as usual with me are the ladies. Good morning, Akashat Nimazibiri.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, when Ankara on a Tuesday, Ejo? Are we going to the naming ceremony after the show?
No, now.
Ankara can be worn more
anytime,
Wednesday.
Okay, so we're reschooling the audience on what is appropriate and what is African.
I think I should use my experience yesterday to reschool the audience. So as I was at a popular lab in Festac yesterday, and sadly, I found out that all the labs in Festac do not have female sonographists. Oh. So my health check for the year, for my birthday, is happening, and I'm using the hospital. So they referred me to certain labs, unlike the one we used to use that would just do a comprehensive package for you. But the hospital has a comprehensive package. They partner these laboratories. And the man supposed to do the...
wants to touch
he did mine. A man did mine. It was very uncomfortable.
That option is universal. And I found out there were 3 northern Hijabites with full regalia who were made to go through. They came out looking sad. They didn't sort of ask the question, and it didn't even occur to me. So, fortunately, the sonographist was writing reports and making us hold urine. And at some point, that thing just woke my head. I got upset that, why are we just sitting down? Why is there no movement? They said, no, it's writing report. I said, for a procedure that requires us to hold urine, you know, that was for the abdominal. And so that's now, and as I hearing he. I said, hey, Joe, please, who is supposed to do the upper side? They say he. I said, he for what? Do you have the alternative of a female? They said no. I went to reception. No. I said, people are talking like, is this a free health check? I paid for this process.
Yeah.
I have the option to pay for something that works for me. And they were just looking like everybody was just, this is a big. I'm just using it to cover them.
It seems like people haven't asked, so it's good that you are
people
asking.
Didn't ask. So when I got back to the hospital and I was talking to my hospital, a patient now got up and said, I was made to go through that. Another woman, this woman was not a Muslim. I hated it. You know, to just find out that women didn't like it and this would take it for granted.
I didn't like it,
women must speak up
because I was told that if I was going to have a woman, I'll need to come back on in a weekday, and I didn't want to.
I would have loved to come back, but they didn't have the option. 3 popular labs, the one that I have used all my life, that I knew had a woman, and let her go and did not find a replacement.
Exactly, that's really bad.
It's just sad that, you know, and you put people. Imagine that woman, madam, it's true. I went through. I hated it. You know, put people through things that might even add to their trauma.
Yeah, but also we need to understand that we should speak up.
Speak up.
And secondly, you know, there are many factors. How many sonographers are women, and how many of them have applied? I know. I'm not saying there aren't, but no, those are the factors you look at per lab. So let's not make it about the lab not even wanting to do it.
It's not a hot topic.
Just
it's a major issue.
But it's an important thing.
You should keep the women. You should keep the option for abdominal sonography and the upper. It is a woman issue. Yeah. And don't take out the option, you're not a serious business person.
You see how you do it. You don't have any problem. They should check what they want to check and let us go.
I don't care. Like, seriously.
I was really uncomfortable.
To the hospital and any doctor that's available to attend to me.
It's a very personal check.
I prefer when it's
because when I'm giving birth in the hospital, it's a man that attends to me. And your legs are wide open and the baby is coming out.
Okay, thank you for the graphic.
Thank you for the very graphic image.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
How was your weekend?
Yeah, weekend was good. I was just clearing out my room. I had promised to God that before he gets back, the room would be squeaky clean. I would clear out all the clutters. I'm very good at keeping books everywhere, so I had to reorganize the library in my room, and everywhere is ready. Like, I'm proud of the room. And I'm waiting.
Mariam, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Lilac?
Yeah, so I'm wearing my daughter's, well, on what side is it?
That's it.
Yes. I hope you're watching. I must see mommy wore it. Anyway, I just want to, you know, I get questions sometimes about this being eco-friendly, you know, like how else, what can we do, you know, in Nigeria and Lagos? Many people actually feel that they can't do anything about it. So I think I got a few questions from the Nigerian Conservation Foundation site. So how you can tell, and what are the little things you can do on your own? So one, do you plant trees? If you don't, do you plant... If you are interested, do plant a garden, flowers, you know, put them in pots if you don't have, like, proper land. That's one way that you are being an advocate for environmental sustainability. Bottles. You can decide to stop using all those single-use bottles and have a bottle that, a plastic bottle that you can use and reuse. So reusable bottles. So in that way, you're also saving your planet. do you recycle your waste? I know many people don't, where you have bins for different things, like for plastics, for things, and put them.
Like they said that, but we didn't really implement.
Those in the house.
These are
practical.
Oh, it is practical.
Very
In fact,
practical.
Lagos State has the waste bins where you can have those.
Everybody
There are
should have
different
potted
colors.
plants.
Yes.
Like
But we
let's just
can
raise it.
implement
But even that,
reusable bottles.
the
And
reusable
reusable
bottles.
The recycling bottles, so we just bag it. And the people that use it for selling, whatever.
Yes,
whatever,
so you are
pick it up.
good instead of
So they're
just
not
throwing it
trashing
away. Yeah.
That's
And
really,
then
really
also, for a lot of you, do you eat bushmeat? If you eat bushmeat,
Mariam, don't
try
go
not
there.
to eat bushmeat.
Please don't go there. Don't go there. Somebody's choking. Don't go. Don't. See, we can hear everything. We will save your vouchers for you. Please don't go to our bushmeat
anymore.
See, yesterday I had a gist with someone called me. Someone like familiar to, I'm sure Nima knows this person, and the man was telling me that I'm interested in your Ekpe location. I said, okay, sir, okay, like I expect he's an elderly man. He said because he bought Osakpa, London at 500,000 naira in 1998, and he said he sold a plot of land there for 45 million naira. I'm like, I need to, like I'm going to repeat this story a million times. Like, I don't, it can only happen in real estate. Like, you buy a land of 500,000 naira and then you sell that same place for 45 million naira. He even told me the business running from that land, that it was right on the road and a business is running from there right now. And he's so proud of paying it forward with his children, that he's going into the bush.
Story, also tell them that was 98 to 2000.
Yeah, so inflation.
Not now, not right now.
Yeah.
But like there was time. At least at least 10 year gap. You give a 10-year gap. But there are places that would appreciate like that. So invest in assets wisely. You know that's what I do. So I'm sentimentally attached to assets acquisition.
Are you sentimentally or financially attached?
No, financially. Everything has to work together. You know. Let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll go into the stories making the headline. Front page review next. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We're starting off front page review with The Nation. Major headline. PDP crisis takes new twist with Secondus suspension. Rivers Court axes national chairman. In other news, court orders government striking doctors to halt hostilities. APC secretary, ex-commissioner arraigned in Osun, charged with assault. Youths dominate INEC online voters registration. Buhari, governors, others mourn Aguiyi Irosi's widow. And we have 222 die of COVID-19 in Lagos, Ondo, Osun, Edo. Vaccination begins in Lagos tomorrow. Edo imposes restrictions, and federal government targets tax raise in 2022 to freeze borrowing. 5 feared killed in land grabbers invasion of Lagos, Ogun communities, and gunmen kill 4, abduct 50 others in Zamfara community. So please, I'm interested in what's happening with the young people and INEC registration.
So we need to hail young people, new registrants especially. So they say young persons between ages 18 and 34 have dominated the online voters registration launched by INEC. Wow. And they said in 8 weeks, a total of 1,877,552 entrants. So they gave the number that they have showed that those who have registered for males is over 1.6 million men have registered, over 1.2 million females have registered, over 2 million Nigerians have registered since the portal was launched. And since the portal was launched 28th of June, as of 7 a.m. today, we've had over the 2 million who have registered, and they are new entrants. So it just shows that a lot of people are finding this particular, especially young people are finding this particular option, this online option, easier, and many people are joining. And I'm really proud of the young people because right now they are walking their talk.
They're doing,
so well done.
We can have more. We can increase it to like 5 million.
But the numbers are quite encouraging. And so
we're getting there. I think we just need more sensitization for people to log into it. So Lagos, Osun, Ondo and Edo state governments yesterday announced that 222 persons have died to the third wave of COVID-19. They said 135 of the 22 fatalities were recorded in Lagos, 70 in Ondo, 13 in Osun, and 4 in Edo State. And they're also saying that, according to Lagos State, vaccination will be starting tomorrow. So they are encouraging a lot of people to come out to be vaccinated. So 3 states, that's the first 3 states I mentioned, Oyo, Edo, Ebonyi, and Zamfara as well, are expected to also begin the second phase of vaccination. But however, Edo State has said that from next month, they are going to make a presentation of the vaccination card very compulsory for citizens to be able to get into churches, mosques, places of burials, and different receptions. So by the time you're going out, you must present your certificate or you will not be, accepted. And then experts are saying, and a lot of other people are saying, that this is more like forcing people to be vaccinated.
We might be discussing that extensively later today.
Doctors.
Yes, please.
Yes, so the government was able to get an ex parte order stopping the strike, asking people to go back to status quo prior to the strike while they proceed with the full trial. So an ex parte motion usually comes without notice, and the court has given that order, and now they are on notice when the court will now hear the main issue. It has been adjourned to September 15, and doctors are supposed to go back, call off the strike, and go back to work till then. So when that matter is properly heard, that's basically, it's not like the court just woke up and said, doctors, don't strike or you don't have the power to. But the motion on notice is waiting while this is supposed to keep things working.
While they're
That's
waiting.
how it works.
Sadly, 5 people were killed, land grabbers. I had to take the story because I wanted to understand what the issue is. The case was in court. There are 2 different cases, one in Igbokuta, Berigbe community in Ikorodu, and Obadaoko, 2 different situations where the lawyers and the agents went to the land to paste the court order, and they were attacked with machetes. People came with motorcycles, and it was a bloody one that led to the death of 5 people. They said even in one particular case, an expectant mother in the shock fainted and took a lot to resuscitate her, would have led to the loss of her and her baby. So when it comes to, we need to reduce the use of hoodlums in land tussles. Like, let's follow the court of law, and follow the due process. You will not lose your investment if you let the court take its course, yes, and not resort to self-help. We can avoid this 5 loss of lives that sadly our heart goes out to the family. Moving on to the Punch, major headline. Petroleum industry acts loopholes. 36 states set up 6-member panel to plan amendments for something that was just signed. And in other news, COVID-19 oxygen usage now 400 cylinders daily, says Sanwo-Olu. Group blames federal government as Saudi Arabia recruits Nigerian doctors. Land grabbers 5 killed, we took that story. PIA host communities fund payment begins August 2022. Lagos artisan allegedly beat 7-year-old son to death over fish. Cholera, Bauchi records highest cases. Disease kills 1,768 in Federal Capital Territory and 23 other states. Anchor borrower CBN incurs 379 billion naira debts. Farmers battle insecurity. Strike continues. NARD insists as court orders suspension. Federal government ASU differ on delay. 30 billion naira revitalization fund. Secondus attacks Wike. Rivers court suspends PDP chair. Oil prices jump to $68 after days of losses. And Disco's beg customers as blackout worsen as grid collapse. So we have so many stories, but let's start with the human interest. Please, what's happening? Which boy?
An artisan, Savior Anyofok, allegedly tortured his 7-year-old son, Nathaniel, to death at his residence in Shangisha, Magodo. So what happened was that a customer brought a microwave for him to repair. And then by the time he was done repairing, he brought a fish to test if the microwave was working. And he forgot the fish in the store and went home. So he took the fish home. That's Mr. Savior, took the fish home so that he would preserve it before the next day that the customer will come and get his fish back. Unfortunately, by the time he got home, he realized that the son had tampered with the fish. and then he beat the boy. So some neighbors were saying that they heard him hitting the boy, slamming the boy, you know, that's not even the first time it happens, that they always hear him beat that boy. But nobody has, you know, said anything to him. Then the stepmother also was not available at the time it happened. So according to the neighbors, they were thinking that the stepmother would have been there to intervene so that the beating doesn't get out of hand. At the end of the day, this poor boy died. Some said they saw him while he was taking him out, that he was lying almost lifeless at the back of the car, and they had perceived all this balm used to probably massage his wounds and all of that. So they just gave different stories. But then the police had, and he ran away, so the police had caught up with him. He told them a different story, that he was not beating him. He was just trying to, he was asking the two of them who took the fish, who tampered with the fish, and by the time he went inside and came back, the boy was running away thinking he was going to beat him up, and then he hit his head on the tile. That was exactly what happened. That he wasn't running away, he was going to see his sick mother and all that. This is a very, very painful story.
That you cannot hide, you can run. Because this was a phone
They found him
call.
already.
No, he's not
He's not in the custody yet.
He's not in custody yet. So he's up east and he's saying sit-at-home mother has not made him come out. So let's take a quick break. When we return, this is such a sad story, very avoidable death. People need to get into anger management and stop beating up children when you are emotionally unstable. When we return, we'll continue with the newspaper review. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. So we're still doing front page review, dealing with the Punch. And Nima had a story.
The major headline, the PIA, the 6 states have started to, you know, point out the loopholes in the PIA.
Newly signed.
The 36 Governors Forum chairman announced that. So they've set up a 6-member committee. According to the head of the Commissioners of Finance for states, he announced that and said that the committee will soon send their report to the committee for the implementation of the PIA set up by the president very soon. And they relied on what the chairman of the Governors Forum said about the PIA not having proper, the PIA not being clear on the 3% for host communities and 30% allocation for frontier exploration, which they said was you know, anti-states in the PIA. So we're waiting.
Okay.
Let's see what
So there's this firm, Mead Consultants, and they're recruiting doctors for different specialties for Saudi Arabia. And on Tuesday, that will be today, they'll be interviewing all those that have registered. So the correspondent that was investigating the story said that, you know, he tried to reach out to the minister for Ngige for Labor and Employment, and he said, well, this does not fall under me. Talk to the Ministry of Health. They tried to reach the Minister for Health for, you know, to find out why this is ongoing, because we have doctors on strike, and apparently they're using the opportunity to go for interviews like this. Doctors are saying they reached out to the president of NAD, and he says, well, if government is not keeping to its part of conversation, and we cannot stop doctors from doing what they are meant to do. He says many Nigerian doctors that practice in Nigeria are doing it just out of patriotism because the conditions of work here, it's just wrong. And so they are going to places where they are better served. Many doctors are saying that they've done this before. In 2018, they interviewed and took away many consultants, medical consultants. So this is ongoing. We should be afraid. Be very afraid.
During the lockdown,
many people moved. It's
this
is
labor
between
issues.
both of them, labor and
this is
the
largely
minister.
labor.
See, the Minister for Health can put pressure on his colleague, the Minister for Labor, to see how to make the affairs of the doctors
I think it's
better. So it's a combination.
lazy excuse to say it does not fall under me.
It falls under you,
Labor
definitely.
recruitment clearly falls under you, Mr. Minister for Labor.
Dr. Chris
Ngige, Minister for Labour,
yes.
Thank you, sir.
The CBN incurs 379 billion naira debt. So they have the Anchor Borrower program, which the president launched in 2015, November, and they gave money to lots of farmers. But the farmers are battling insecurity, and so they have been unable to pay back the debts, which is in total of 379 billion naira. You see, when we don't deal with some issues, they affect many other issues. Our lack of dealing with insecurity has now affected farmers who have now been unable to pay back the debts, and Nigeria is losing money to the tune of 379 billion naira. Moving on to...
Falling apart.
Moving on to Vanguard. Major headline. Strike. Doctors adamant as federal government hails court order. That's, we've taken that story. You can't miss the picture. 15 Bethel students released after 46 days in captivity. We're happy for the families. This is just such an emotional moment from the picture you will see here. NPDC in Ogoni to resume oil exploration. Our dealings with partners transparent. That's from NLNG. Lockdown. Army warns desist or face the law. State of the nation. Nigeria needs right leadership to tackle insecurity. That's from Tamboa. And ban on open grazing stays from Akere Dolu. Court restrained Secondos from parading himself as national chairman of PDP. We're not bothered about internal political crisis right here on the show. There are more pressing issues that we want to deal with, like what's happening in Ogoni.
Following their win, where the appeal court returned the OML 11 to the NNPC, the MPDC, which is the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, has moved to site in Bori, and they've come and continue exploration there. The head managing director of the MPDC, Mr. Lizara, was now saying to the Ogoni people that I regret what you've been through all the years. We are going to work in a way to better the lives of Ogoni people and all of those things that, we usually would hear at a time like this. I just wish for a bit, not a bit, 100% sincerity.
In
so
the
that
implementation
while
of the
we are
promises,
growing our economy and getting these monies to develop,
don't destroy the environment.
We don't destroy the lives.
What about the cleanup? Let's ask for updates on the cleanup. Yes. Moving on to Daily Trust, major headline. Insecurity. Villagers stockpile arms for self-defense. That doesn't bode well. 938 dead as cholera ravages 22 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. Buhari, others mourn as General Aguiyi Rose's widow dies. Zamfara lawmakers suspend plenary over kidnap of speaker's father. Court orders resident doctors to suspend strike. Revive grazing reserve only where people are interested. And there's a beautiful picture of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, on the left, addressing soldiers during his visit to the 2nd Division Nigerian Army in Ibadan yesterday. They look really smart. I wish we see this, more on the front.
So cholera.
Please, let's talk about cholera.
Okay, so far we have recorded over 33,000 cases of cholera across 22 states, FCT included, and not less than 398 persons have died to cholera. The NCDC named all the states that are suffering this, and it says that in Nasarawa State, 51 people lost their lives. 51 people have lost their lives to cholera in Nasarawa State alone. In Taraba State, there are 8 persons who have died. The ministry is saying that a lot of this can be, it's because of the hygienic, how unhygienic we are. Many of the local governments, there's a high level of
this is a local government issue.
No hygiene and that poor open defecation is quite high in these areas. So they're talking to them to pay more attention to hygiene.
Daily Trust has a report that states in the northwest, north central are contributing monies to stockpile arms and protect themselves. So villages in Niger, Zamfara, Kaduna, Plateau, and Katsina states are major leading in this, and it's because they feel helpless and they've decided to resort to what they call assisting the governors. So some governors have started to resorting to using vigilantes to protect these communities, and they think they can also do that. With the call for some governors asking them to buy arms and protect themselves, I think this is a double-edged sword. The same bandits the same bandits can attack these villages and get arms from them.
Yes,
you know,
it is not a sustainable approach to solve this problem. Moving on to Nigerian Tribune, major headline. We've taken the story of COVID third wave and the fact that Lagos has recorded 135 deaths, 13 died in Osun in just 1 week. Jos crisis, Ekiti, Enugu evacuates stranded students from UniJos. EFCC arrests 37 internet fraudsters in Ibadan. Why I told citizens to carry arms by Masari, which actually links with what you're saying. But let's talk about...
EFCC quickly. So they disclosed yesterday that they arrested 37 suspected internet fraudsters in Ibadan, or your town in the state. And they also came out because there was a viral video that went on with Dorothy Batcho, that's the former Big Brother, who said that they broke into her apartment by 5 a.m. and, you know, they met her naked. So EFCC is explaining, saying that she was not even around when they came into that area, but they needed to because they got intelligence reports that there were fraudsters there, and they were able to get about 9 people that they came with a warrant. They tried to, you know, ask for permission to get into the house. The sister refused to allow them in, and so they had to break in. And so they explained why they had to, you know, get out the criminals, that it was just more like a media publicity for Dorothy to say that she ran out naked when they came into the house. But I'm wondering, do they need to do those raids in the middle of the night? Yes, they said she was lying. She just wanted to hide. Do they have to go in the middle of the night?
Yes, no.
I think they do the work at night.
Yes, now sting operation. They'll catch you anytime. Hush puppy was not at night.
Wow.
We catch them when we can.
Were you going to get the story?
Yes, just Governor of Katsina State, you know, just the last story you took, and he was giving the reasons why he has asked that people should carry arms. Because he says that if you look at it, the security operatives are so thinly spread that every state is struggling with insecurity right now. And sometimes, you know, these people are just folding their arms while these bandits are just going up and down. He says they've had conversations with them where they try to have like a peace, you know, conversation and everything. But these bandits themselves do not have one particular leader. So you have a conversation with one, before you know it, another faction comes up and, you know, they're carrying arms and killing his people. And he feels that it's on...
been talking to?
Yeah, so they're saying they're talking to different people. So another faction comes up and says, well, you didn't speak to us. He said there was a particular faction that they spoke to, and when they went into the bush, they were killed, all of them. So another one rose, you know, so...
Honestly, we have a Hydra-headed challenge in our hands, but this is not the solution. It is not self-help that will solve the problem. Actually, it will just aggravate the problems at hand. As we will say in Nigeria, pray for your country. That's just the end. That's all we can take on Front Page Review for today. When we come back, we go into hot topics. Maybe something light. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Oh, no.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back to the show. We read in the papers today that the Edo State governor has come up with a policy to encourage COVID-19 vaccinations, and the expectation is that it will now become compulsory for everyone in the state to carry an indication that they've been vaccinated before they can attend public events like your church, like your mosque, schools, the offices. It will be compulsory within Edo State for everyone to get vaccinated. This is their own way of ensuring that they reduce mortality within their state due to COVID-19. Now, some people are now saying that, okay, we know you want to protect us, but we're not interested. We should have freedom of right to choose whether we want to live or we want to die. And some are saying that the government is pushing it too far, that even other countries that have recorded high number of deaths haven't made it compulsory for every citizen to get vaccinated. So the question is, what are your thoughts on this? Do you believe this is a welcome development to encourage to make vaccination compulsory? Or would you agree that people should be given freedom to decide whether they want to get vaccinated or not? You can call us on 081-270-53687, or you can call us on 091-390-76948. We'd like to hear from you on what you think. Now, Nima, this is your state. So very soon.
This man
and you have decided not to vaccinate.
I didn't decide.
Yeah.
Not that she will.
I was studying the options that I had.
available.
I've had COVID, so
you feel?
I know better. Yes. And I'm already, my immunity is quite strong, yes.
But still, according to your state governor now, in a very short time, if you want to go to your state, you need to show proof that you are being vaccinated.
I want to see my grandma now.
Exactly.
The only loving relative I have left in Edo State, yes. So I think it's a welcome thing.
Really?
Yes, but I doubt, I think it's also bogus or ambitious. I find some loopholes will be existing there. Edo State is a place that is not as developed as Lagos, and I wonder how enforcing it would happen. And I fear for abuses of you, because they require you to now carry a vaccine card around. So I fear abuses. I also fear people, fraud happening. People doctoring the cards. I wonder how it will be. I think if they have proper data, vaccines are movable. For places like Edo, my grandma, for instance, will not go to any hospital except we go home to take her, or my cousins take her for that. And it's a long journey from EBA to Benin. And even if they're doing it within the polytechnic that is closest to us, it's still a long journey for someone that is 90. So I think it's something that the governor should have a large plan on how to implement. If they had what they call this, like the polio vaccine, people carry the vaccines, find a cooling van to carry it into the villages, go to the palace, because it's very local like that. Go to the palace, compel, elicit the use of the town criers for some of these villages interior.
Town criers?
And yes.
2021?
Yes, they do. Yes, even in Lagos, in
really?
Ikorodu, in some of those areas, yes. And I love to see those kind of things. Go into those interiors, use whatever language that they speak and to talk to them about it, educate them, and get them to the king's palace. They speak in their dialect to them and tell them the benefits of it and give it to them. I think that will work largely than start to enforce and put a standing order down. Because this will only work within Benin and the University of Benin and within the civil service. The way it is now, but it's welcome.
They intend to implement from the second week of September that large gatherings will not be allowed except you are vaccinated. You will not be allowed to attend parties except you are vaccinated.
How about schools for your children? I guess
they said worship centers will not be. No, they didn't mention schools. I'm waiting to see if they didn't mention schools. Just public gatherings will not be allowed if you don't have your vaccination card. I was also hoping that there will be an extensive report on how far they have gone in vaccination on ground. So if you have data that we vaccinated about 20% and we have the capacity to vaccinate 80%, then I can understand why you would say no more physical gathering, except you're saying that until everybody's vaccinated, let's go back to lockdown. Maybe this is another way of implementing, backroom of implementing lockdown.
I would say that I think our governments are always in a hurry to just reel out these policies. So they just, how do we get these people to comply? And the first thing that comes into their head is usually force. But you need to understand the sort of people that you have, the sort of people that you are leading. Let me not use the word rule, but we know how it is. The sort of people that you are leading, you need to come down to their level so that everybody is carried along. So what are some of the measures that you have put in place to carry them along? Like you mentioned, going to the villages. What are some of the sensitizations that you have done? How have you promoted jingles? How have you gone to the marketplaces to speak to them so that they even understand? A lot of people still, till today, have issues with taking the vaccines. They still have the conspiracy theories. They are still asking if the magnet, if it's magnetic till today. That means that we have not done enough to educate them on the benefits of vaccinating them. So if you now come up with, if you're not vaccinated, you'll not be able to do this, how do you even plan to enforce it? Because the truth is, it will definitely be abused. You could say, after you have put all the measures in place, that, for you to, especially for people in the cities, because the fear is always people in the cities are the ones that have access to traveling and all that. But in those rural areas, are you still going to use the same policy for people in the rural areas? Let's try and understand some of this.
Okay, so I like where you went about what are the amount of vaccines available. Exactly. We know that Nigeria is waiting on COVAX or wherever to send us vaccines before we can then, start vaccinating people. So I'm hoping that this is based off on information maybe that says that they have received their quota to give for Edo State, but they just have so much more left in the cooler because people are not coming to get vaccinated. And so the government, based on that information, is trying to ensure that more people are vaccinated. So, and in doing that, I don't see anything wrong with that. The reason I don't see anything wrong with asking that people must be vaccinated. So it's not that you must all be vaccinated. It's that, well, if you need to go to church, be vaccinated.
If you want to go to the party.
If you want to go to the party, be vaccinated. So if I want to be vaccinated, I go and get my vaccine. Simple. So it's not really a if you are not vaccinated, then we'll lock you up in prison.
Sounds like
whatever.
saying that, you know, me, I'm vaccinated, so I can go to parties. I've already been vaccinated.
Okay, yeah. So when you do that, because one thing with vaccination is that when those unvaccinated are more than those vaccinated, the effect of it is, yes, you don't get that immunity, that herd immunity. So for a lot of other vaccines that people do not want to be, that a lot of people have sort of taken themselves out of, especially with children's vaccines, is that in that situation, we have more children vaccinated, more people have the vaccine, so you enjoy that herd community. But this is what we're trying to build in Nigeria, in Edo State. So even if the numbers of those not vaccinated is higher than those vaccinated, it's like 0. So we need to up the numbers. And it's a good thing for Edo State because it means that your governor is in tune with what is important for your health. And so it's important also, apart from asking that people, you know, compulsorily be vaccinated, like you said, we need to educate people better. Okay. We need for them to understand that the myths are just myths and they're not, you know, correct. But also that Nigerians also need to seek important information, because I notice, you know, sometimes when we're talking about these important things, Nigerians like to tune off because it's not about bass-bows, pepper them, you know, but when it has to do with your health, it has to do with vaccine, ask the questions, let the people be there to answer the questions, let those in charge of giving these vaccines be educated enough to give people informed answers when they do ask.
Let me take Ikena from Oka. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Ikena. Welcome to the show. You're live.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It is not about getting vaccinated. The question is, this whole thing, what is it all about? As a country, as a nation, we have our medical doctors, we have our experts, you know, that's into this. Nigeria has come with level.
Oh, I think we lost that call. Iken, are you still there? Okay. Let's go on a break. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll take more phone calls. So let's hear from you. What do you think about Edo State making this move to make vaccination compulsory? Do you agree or do you disagree? Call us after this break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we'll be discussing the new law that is about to be, the new order that is about to be implemented in Edo State that will not allow anybody to have access to public space, have events, churches, religious gatherings, generally, if you are not vaccinated. Vaccination will be compulsory and you must hold your vaccination card for you to have access to public space. People are saying, is it right or is it wrong? And we've all discussed it from different perspectives, but I think seemingly we all feel like there is need for vaccination.
We agree.
But we don't want to compel vaccination without pushing information. So the goal should not be, let's just say, everybody, you must compulsorily do this. But we realize that Nigerians might not obey unless they are compelled. So maybe he's giving his people in a way they understand. Because if he puts the restriction, maybe it would move more people towards getting their vaccines. What are people saying on social media?
So Temi Adeleke on Facebook says, Nigerians, I beg, get vaccinated. COVID death is painful and harrowing. Margaret Oguntola said, good morning, sisters. Please, have we got enough vaccine to go around before enforcing? Lola Lawal Adeumi says, no government should have the right or power to force anybody to take vaccines whose long-term effect is not yet known. This is wrong on all fronts. How many vaccines have ever been forced on people? Why is this one being forced? I should have a right over my body. What of those who get side effects? Will the government take responsibility for side effects for people who have not had the COVID since all the noise?
Very important question. Let me quickly take Olanrewaju from Agege. Olanrewaju, welcome to the show. Good morning. Good morning, Olanrewaju. Can you hear me?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. You're live.
You guys, you are well done, my sisters. You are doing a wonderful job. Do you know what? I only want to appeal Nigeria, not to see our leaders' information and laws as a burden to us. Let us see it as a needful thing we need. Because if you want to see it as a law, nobody will follow it. Because those who are making the law, they are the ones violating it. It's very, very clear to all of us. We have seen what happened maybe 2 or 3 days back now. Let the campaign commence now. You can see how people... It's also, don't let us... But we in Nigeria, let us say, okay, this is a dead sentence. Let us cover ourselves. Let's protect ourselves. But I personally am telling you, if I have to follow the government's directive, I will not even follow it. Because themselves, they are less concerned about the law they make.
Olanrewaju is addressing the hypocrisy of the government because, you know, Edo State had elections this year and the campaigns, we saw how it went during the pandemic, that it wasn't like there was a lot of compliance with the challenge. So, but he's advising still that we should get vaccinated for ourselves. Nima,
I think this is...
Some people for religious,
some
people for religious reasons
fears.
Do not want to get vaccinated. But it shouldn't. And how does this contravene their individual human rights to say, I don't want to get vaccinated?
Yes, there's of course a clash of people's rights to do things freely, to choose what they want. This is something that will be applied on their person. And I think without legal backing, the governor cannot just say, you must take it to carry a card. Yes. How many vaccines do we even have? Wait. In Edo State, how many vaccines were they given? What's the population of Edo State? How practical exactly? Are you just trying to restrict people's movement by using an excuse, or you truly, truly want them vaccinated? For people to get vaccinated, I support. But to compel and restrict their movement to carry a card, I see too many abuses. And, you know, this is what I expect to be well done, something that, you know, will be well thought through, holistically put together. People have the right to choose to take it or not. Yes, and you can say, okay, if you don't have access card, there are certain places you can't come. But when it clashes with their right to enter that place or use that place, there will be issues.
The developed countries are not still doing that now.
There's nowhere in the world where it is complete. I understand people's rights, but if your right to not take the vaccine would affect my child, your own child coming to affect my own child in the same school as just because people have refused to take the vaccine. Please, I'm not going to take that either.
There are non-invasive procedures. Wait, hold on a minute, Miriam. There are non-invasive procedures already given as guidelines.
Like wearing of those masks.
Compel people to wear face masks. How have you enforced that already? Compel people to sanitize. How many hand-washing centers have you provided in Edo State? There are many farming communities within Edo State. How many have you done? So that when we are talking, and let us not just be like we're just, you know.
Let me take Maria, and I'll come to you, Mariam.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning, ladies in the house.
Good morning, ma.
Very well, thank you.
It's nice listening to your program this morning. You see, we live in a country where everybody feels they can do things anyhow, and it's so sad. Even the non-pharmacological procedures that were given to us, are we complying? No. We are not complying. When people say, oh, COVID, I just laugh at them and shake my head. And the unfortunate thing again is that people, Maria, my sister is there now. She said she's been infected before, so that's why she's still studying it. I have had colleagues, I'm a doctor, I've had colleagues who have been infected twice. I've even had colleagues recently now who died. So understand, people are working to save lives. Those who refuse, and these doctors I'm talking about, they've either had one shot, some have not had a second shot. Our immunities are not the same. Also, the non-pharmacological thing, you said no. Take the vaccine, you don't want to. What do you really want? These are the questions we should ask ourselves.
Yeah, true, ma.
from a doctor's perspective, who's seen someone die, who's seen that in the quest of doctors to save the lives of patients, they die. They get infected and get sick time and time again. I think that it's beyond us. Yeah. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing the Edo State's new policy to enforce the vaccination by getting people to have vaccination card before they can go into public spaces or gather in have large gatherings. And we have Dr. Tuyi Mebawodu, who is a public health expert, who is going to tell us more about if he feels this would work and how best to implement this policy. Dr. Tuyi, good to have you again on the show. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you again on the show. So I wanted to ask you, I hope you've read about this new policy that Edo State wants to roll out by the second week of September. Do you agree with it? Do you believe that this compelling system would be a faster way to get vaccination to increase?
We just have to use some extraordinary measures to ensure that people comply with the vaccination. Why do we have to use this? Because look at all the non-pharmaceutical intervention that we have pushed. Wear face mask, social distances, avoid crowd, wash your hands. People think that those things are just manufactured from somewhere. They are not complying. And of course, the only thing left for us actually to do is to deploy vaccines as much as possible. I had argued in the past and over again that what we need to do is to ramp up vaccination. We need to actually look for the vaccine and give those vaccines. Now it becomes important that if you have vaccines and you're giving that vaccines, then we have to implement ways to ensure that you don't endanger the lives of other people who chose to vaccinate themselves and who chose to run away from crowd. So if we are not vaccinated, we have to actually look for ways. If you are not vaccinated, we have to look for ways to ensure that you don't create more problem for us, because Nigeria's public health system cannot respond robustly to increased cases of COVID or any pandemic or epidemic at that. So for me, it's the right step in the right direction. But the key issue now is this. Do we have sufficient vaccine to give to the people? That's question number one. Two, how do we, because you see, showing card may be a challenge, but again, do we have other means to check people attending any function, whether they are properly vaccinated? So it's good.
We have enough police officers.
So my question is that a lot of people are saying that government is not doing enough in sensitizing, people about the importance of this vaccine. And some would say, well, government has done enough. It's just that Nigerians do not want to take the lessons. So what is it a problem of? Is it that the government needs to do much more in making sure that people are aware of the benefits, the importance, and the danger of not taking these vaccines?
Yeah, let me say this clearly. Government has not done enough. Let's be fair. Because you see, there are a lot of doubters, there are a lot of hesitancies as far as vaccine is concerned. Government needs to take the team out to the grassroots and educate the people and share examples where vaccines work. Okay, what you have seen is that government have taken the team far away from the grassroots. The key stakeholders involved, the churches and the religious houses are one of the key people that don't want to take the vaccine. Even the local people, they don't understand what the vaccine is supposed to do. So you cannot tell me that government has done enough. There are still more things to do in terms of campaign and educating people and involving the stakeholders, the traditional institutions to give the vaccines. But if people want to take the vaccines, the procedure to take the vaccines is a bit cumbersome. We have to simplify it and make it accessible to the people as much as possible. The campaign has to go in the local languages so every people then understand essentially what they need to do and how they need to do it. So there's still huge room for government to do more. Now, but again, what we have is what we have. What we have now is to ensure that even the little campaign, we ensure that it works as much as possible.
Right, doctor. So don't you think that this call for making it compulsory is going to be infringing of the rights of the citizens? For instance, some people have religious beliefs and different beliefs that may not allow them to take the vaccination. But when you now make it compulsory, we are taking away their own human rights. Don't you think the government should have found other means of making people take the vaccination?
I agree that you cannot actually, make it compulsory for people to take the vaccine. That's the challenge, because they have their right to decide that these are not going to take the vaccine. But if you are not going to take the vaccine, stay at home. So we're not saying you should take the vaccine by all means. But if you're not going to take the vaccine, then stay in your house. Don't join crowd. Don't go to wedding. Don't attend church. Stay in your home. Join your church by Zoom. That's what we're saying. Okay? And we must make that very clear. That if you're not taking the vaccine, okay, no problem. But don't use your own decision to endanger other people. So when their right ends, some other people also start. So what is the public good in all these things? And that's for me, that's what we need to push for.
Some countries around the world that produce these vaccines, that are even donating it to Africa, have a high number of people willing to take it anyway. So what exactly are we doing differently? It's not like Nigerians are committing any crime now. If somebody is convincing you about your fears.
Well, you see, let's agree that this is the largest rollout of vaccinations in the human history, and then we're confronting a disease that is very novel in a way, and then we have to respond to it. Let's look at it. The fear we expressed a year ago about COVID is much more reduced now, okay, because we have confidence that we have something we can use to fight the vaccine. And good enough, just yesterday, the FDA finally approved and agreed that COVID vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine can be used. There's no problem with it, and that is nice enough, and that's good enough for everybody to understand. So we have to actually interrogate the safety of the public, the human, your own rights and decisions, and how to see that what is the best decision in this case. We've seen countries that are actually doing the third shots now. So for us, if we have the first shot, second shot, let us take it and see what is possible after that.
How about frontline workers being vaccinated, that were compulsorily vaccinated initially? Is that not enough to improve herd immunity?
No, we don't have enough doctors now.
I mean, for the case of Edo State.
Again, frontline doctors, listen, for you to get herd immunity, you need to move as much as 60% of the population vaccinated. 60%. You know that the first vaccines that came up was about how many was about less than 4 million.
Yes.
The people that took these 2 doses were less than 2 million. Okay, so in the whole of Nigeria, how is that going to produce herd immunity? First of all, we have massive vaccine shortage. 2% of the population has just been vaccinated. That is nothing. That is, it's not something we should be proud and be talking about. Even the little vaccine we have to actually use it strategically. People above 20 or above 18, and then the people that are at risk. We have to use strategically. So if we have that vaccine, we have to use it maximally. We don't want them to have vaccines that will get wasted. We don't want people that refuse to take vaccine to start compromising the health of other people. Because if they have the right to take the vaccine, they have the right to interact with them. The government has the real opportunity to ensure that these vaccines are given to the right people and given the right quantity, and ensure that we should protect the public against the spreading of disease. Because look at the doctors, they are on strike. Okay, they're still fighting over that. Cholera outbreak is coming. Government does not have money to respond to the health system. No human resources to respond to the health system. And then somebody now wants to compromise the fragile health system.
So, but Dr. Tuyi, we don't have.
He doesn't have the right to then encroach on other people. It's just like, for instance, somebody with HIV positive. Now knowing people like I'm HIV positive and then making love to other people. That's not without protection. That is wrong. That is wrong. You cannot say that he has the right not to use condom. That is very, very wrong. you know, and of course, it can be prone to prosecution. So let's look at it from that clear angle.
So, Dr. Tui, thanks for your, honestly, I like the example. I mentioned it during the break that it's like HIV, and basically say you have human rights when your human right can impact on other person's human right at the same time. So we can't say it enough. Vaccination is very, very important. And as many of us that have access to a public health center, let's go get vaccinated. There's nothing that would happen to you. You're going to improve the chances of other people who don't have access not to fall ill. We'll still have Dr. Tuyi with us. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we move into another pandemic ravaging Nigeria. We've recorded over 900 deaths of cholera. So we'll talk more about that when we come back from the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. It's Healthy Tuesday, and we've been talking about how to, we'll be discussing the Edo State issue first. We've discussed that Edo is going to make it compulsory for everyone to be vaccinated, and if you are not vaccinated, you will not have access to public space, and you'll be able to attend parties or events generally because you don't have a vaccine card. We're still wondering how that would work, how easy it would be to implement, considering that manpower and all of that. But now we have another pandemic in our hands, this one killing people. NCDC has reported that over 938 people died of cholera in Nigeria. We have over 33,000 cases across 18 states as well as the FCT. So this is another pandemic, and we still have Dr. Tuyi Mebamodu with us, who is a public health expert, to tell us this is a largely preventable pandemic. It's basically based on the fact that we don't have, we live in a dirty environment. We're number 2 in open defecating worldwide, which is another issue that has increased cholera in Nigeria. Doctor, are you still with us? Can you hear me? How can we?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How can we end this cholera thing? Because I believe it's something we can end. We shouldn't have anybody die of cholera.
It's a shame. It's a shame that I can tell you for the past 10 years, we'll be having an outbreak, what I call epidemic of cholera, day in, day out. And of course, it's seasonal. We can always figure out the season this cholera thing will break out. Now, cholera is a simple disease of water, sanitation, and hygiene. So if you have good water, if you don't have good water supply, of course, we know that Nigeria, access to potable water is seriously compromised. A lot of people are using their boreholes. If they cannot afford, bottled water or pure water, and even in some instances, people are actually drinking from the same water they are defecating their junior source of. Now, the second thing which you rightly pointed out was the fact that open defecation, 50 million people, Nigeria overtook India about a year ago on open defecation. The waste on the open space will go right away to affect our source of water supply. The contamination is there. 1 out of every 5 households does not have access to defecation and sanitation equipment or process. Now, the hygiene is there. Washing of hands, which we have been shouting all about, people are not talking about it. So now, day in, day out, 23 states, close to 1,000 deaths. That's what we are having now as far as cholera is concerned. Now, the education about hygiene has gone down. The focus of government is not on public health again. Everybody wants a huge hospital built, multi-story hospital that can add to their political calculations. Rather than focusing on public health, we're focusing on the wrong thing. Nigeria, this is a big shame that in 21st century, that people, as many as 1,000 are dying from things that is preventable, simple thing. Just provide water, sanitation, and hygiene. Just by providing water, you can just deal with cholera. Now, the side effect of it is also that we're not having the requisite education. I just see the Nigeria Center for Disease Control sitting somewhere in Abuja, creating emergency operation centers and issues document and statistics. But listen, hey, where is the information concerning cholera prevention, even at the low government, where this information should reside? Has anybody visited any household now and said that, listen, cholera is on the ground, these are the things you're supposed to do, or dispute free water guard to prevent the germs?
So I wanted to talk about the water guard, because Dr. Mibawadu, when we were kids, there was this jingle on air where the government made available some of those things during cholera outbreak. How safe are they today? And you know,
are they available?
Are they available so that people can help themselves?
Now, again, the water guard is a cheap thing that can be used actually to prevent the infection. All we need is actually a safe education, the education of safety of water, what you need to do for your water source. Hello? Can you hear me? Yes. Yes. So what we now need to do exactly is for that education and provision of that water guard, because it's a cheap thing. Now, we expect that at this time, during this epidemic, government will roll out some vaccination, you know, against cholera, you know, so that we can protect some people. But those actions we're not seeing. All we're seeing is the number of deaths, the number of states affected, and number of people infected. So it's so basic. The responsibility to prevent cholera resides both at the home level, individual level, home level, and even at the community. What we have seen is that the primary health centers and the medical officers of health in all these local governments, they're not doing enough to campaign, to educate the people and push for prevention in terms of cholera.
Doctor, when I hear hygiene, I always worry for people who live in a clustered environment. So you see those people who live in face me, I face you shanties, on top of the water, and they don't even have a good, a proper toilet, so to speak. How do you maintain hygiene in that sort of environment? And what are some of the things that they can do to help themselves in those environments?
And most of those actions that we need to take, because those are actually the nodal points, the nodal point of cholera spread. Most of those actions we need to take should actually go to those kind of slums. You know, those days we used to have the inspectors, sanitary inspectors, who look around and figure out how do you dispose your waste, what's the source of your water, how do you keep the water you are drinking, when to try for your hand washing. If you have councillors in those areas and you have the councillor for health, what do they call them, you know, in the local government, they should be able to work in those things and ensure that those things happen. Now, if you're in the slum, it creates a lot of challenges in terms of sanitation and health, like you rightly pointed out. But even within that slum, there are critical things you can still do to ensure that, you know, you prevent the transmission of waterborne diseases. Now, unfortunately, in those slums, their source of water supply is actually linked to either a well or an open water source. What you need to do, because you know, if I ask them to boil the water, that means they have to buy gas or buy firewood to boil it. That creates another problem. So it's a special thing that you take education. I remember some 3-4 years ago when there was a cholera outbreak, we had to enter a community in Ogombo, in Lagos State here, and openly demonstrate how to use that water guard and how to keep their water in a separate bucket. This is going to a water guard you put, and you cover the bucket, and you use just one cup to fetch water from that bucket if you cannot boil the water you want to drink. So there are clear-cut, simple instructions that you can give to people in order to prevent that water, to prevent them from cholera or waterborne diseases. So it's very key. We can still do something, but like in everything, seems not to care so much about public health. I hope we thought that the pandemic of COVID and this cholera outbreak will bring a new wave of thinking and reasoning as far as our security is concerned. But alas, we're not seeing anything yet.
One more question for you, sir, before we run off.
Yes, so apart from water guard, I just wanted to, I would like for us to maybe list maybe 5 things we can tell people now. Boil your water, you know. We have a lot of Nigerians drink the pure water, yes, from the sachet. Sometimes it's sold in traffic. You know, what do you need to do when you find yourself in traffic and having to buy this either bottled water or sachet water? And then, you know, sometimes, you know, we eat the salads, the African salads on the street. So what are the things that we should avoid right now? And what are the things that we should do right now?
We have just 1 minute for that.
Let me quickly add, sir. If you see a person with symptoms of cholera, there's sugar and salt, what can you do for immediately
like for first aid?
Yes.
Quickly. Now, we have to be actually careful on what we eat and the sort of water we drink. That is the key word. We need to be careful now. So in such a way that if it's possible for you to hold your water along and drink until you come back. And then fruits, if you have to take fruits, you have to wash your fruit. Take your hygiene seriously. Wash your hands before and after eating. And whenever you go out and come back, make sure you wash your hands with soap and water. That will help you a lot. And then don't just eat indiscriminately and consume water indiscriminately. Let's stop that for now until we get over this issue. And if you have to take charge of your water at home, if you don't have a good source of water supply, put your water in a separate pocket, cover it, put a cup over it, and put some water guard inside it to kill germs. And now, I think the other question has to do with what was the question again?
First aid.
What we need to do, should we suspend cholera? What we need to do is, the simple thing is the salt, sugar solution. What does that mean? Inside about 1.5 liters of water, you put 10 tablespoonful of sugar and 1 of salt. Pour it and mix it. Boil the boiled water that is cooled down. And people drink frequently as the student comes on. And then after that, the next thing is actually seek medical help as soon as possible. There are different solutions being sold in the sachet that can be applied to those water and then given to people. But more importantly, government needs to step up education. In our community, we need to step up education so that people don't get this disease.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Symptoms comes off between 5 hours and 2 days. We need to help ourselves since we're not seeing much of our government doing a lot for us.
Thank you so much, Doctor. We've been speaking with Dr. Tuyi Mebawandu, who is a public health expert, and has been educating us on both COVID and how it is important for us to get vaccinated, as well as cholera, which is very preventable, an epidemic that has killed over 900, has infected over 33,000, which is strictly a water, hygiene, sanitation sickness. And so what we've learned so far, just so that everyone watching will take responsibility, we cannot just blame government for not informing people. For every one of you watching, call someone in the village. If you know someone in the village, call them to be more hygienic towards their water, get water guard, separate the bucket they use for drinking water and the cup they use from the one they use for any other activity, and ensure that if they suspect any form of cholera, which is diarrhea that comes with cholera, they get a salt and water solution to drink, and we can reduce the number of people that we're losing to this highly preventable disease. So that's how we can take on health. When we'll come back, we'll move into another topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're going into a different topic entirely. Reno Mokri posted about this topic that I believe should be of interest to you. He said, if you are a successful and wealthy person, avoid your school WhatsApp alumni group. Too often, you may attract unnecessary hatred from schoolmates who never had time for you in school, yet now believe that their poverty is your responsibility to fix. And your refusal to fix their problems would result in them showing hatred towards you. They would devote more time to pulling you down than pulling themselves up. And due to their emotional connection to your youth, you may end up getting distracted from your goals. So avoid stories that touch and jejely face your front before you are drawn to engage in iberiberism. So when I saw this, personally, I've not had any. I just face my business. I'm so one-track minded that you can really distract me. But I have a friend who I knew when he joined his school alumni WhatsApp group, and I saw the way his life sort of changed. It is today we have a schoolmate that has kidney issue. The next day, one of our schoolmates, the husband died. We need to gather money to do burial. Another day, I was just wondering, why is it our conversation now has become, this is our alumni group. This is what we are doing. I'm like, why? This isn't you before you joined this group. And suddenly now, every moment is fundraising, fundraising, fundraising. So since I don't have personal story to share, who among you has personal stories of, I know you are in your WhatsApp group, Mariam. I know you are in your, how is that like?
Yes, you know what, I don't even get time to participate in that group, as I would like, because there's just so many things, distracting me. I can't, but at the times that I can, for me, I find that my group is it's been very helpful for a lot of people. But I understand that we're different people with different experiences in secondary school. So you did secondary school together, but we have moved on. We've become adults that have been influenced by so many things with different experiences. So sometimes the way we take information is so different. So someone can put a tiny joke on the group, and before you know it, another person will take it like it's a war. But but most times I find that for those who need help, for those who are in hospital, people are able to bring themselves together and help. But from my own experience, there's no pressure to do it. It's not like, oh, if you don't do it, somebody's going to call you out. But if you can, you are asked to do it.
The kind of wealth we're talking about. Talking about when they know you have money.
So I don't know if there's anybody like that, because I don't have that kind of money. And I don't know anybody in my group who has. Maybe they do, but they are not showing it. So for those that have wealthy people.
Yeah, so aside from even being wealthy, if you are in that sort of group and probably now that you're on TV, you are seen like you have money, whether you have or not. Everything is wash, but people will just feel that you have money. So what happened was I was told about my own school WhatsApp group. I went to Asaba Girls Grammar School in Asaba, so AGGS. And then they told me, they are meeting. They have a WhatsApp group now. And the year that we graduated, so I think I finished I can't remember, 2000 or so. Yeah. And, no, 1999, yes. And so they said, we have a group now for 1999 sets. So they have the different groups for different sets. And, should we add your name and all of that? We just found you on Facebook. And this after how many years? And then they added. And I was just observing how things were done. So apparently, everybody had gone ahead in life. People are doing different things. But then there's this clique of the people that know each other, the people that were happening in the secondary school at the time, forming their own clique. So they greet themselves, they support themselves, they do things for themselves. And you can just feel that these people we are in this together, but there's a faction already, there are different factions already. And I could feel it, and I was like, I don't want to be in this space where it seemed like, And so some persons will come behind and give you stories and then come on the group and they will stay in another, they don't want to show that they belong or they are friends with you in the group. But in the group. But they know who you are and they want to be friends with you outside the group. So that it doesn't seem like, oh, you're not following her because she's now a celebrity. When she was in school, she was a nobody. So we are somebody in school. Let us have our own group. So I just saw, I didn't say a word in that group, nothing. I just saw everything that was happening. I was like, I don't want to be in this space. Let me quickly take myself out of that place. And, a lot of other people have shared experiences with me. So I had a friend, too, who left the group and was like, the way they were behaving there, it wasn't just for me. I just feel we have moved on. We have forgotten school. Let everybody just move on. So I think you just need to find, if this place is okay for my mental health, let me stay there. If it's not okay for you, step away. It may not be about the money. It may just be about anything else.
Yeah, so
that's not working.
Nima, I know Nima is a mommy yard. You want everybody around you. You want to have all your.
You really don't know me.
Nima has friends from 1960 something. Before you were born, you had friends.
From secondary school, I belong to my secondary school.
WhatsApp group.
CDSS 99 set WhatsApp group. I'm loving it. I love everybody from my set. We were so many, and I cannot believe the way we respect each other. I think the two things lacking from Reno Mercury's tweet is how to set your boundaries and how to respect yourselves. So on that group, I belong to the group. I'm assigned duties on the group. And somebody will take time out and say, Madam, we are discussing your area on the group. Get on the group. And I respect that because that person understands, the group understands that I might be busy, carried away. I hardly open the groups that I belong to. The Hijab Rights Advocates group, I opened yesterday, it was 1,000 messages plus. And I'm waiting. But when something concerns me, I want to believe that somebody would know that I'm distracted with other things and call my attention to it, and I jump on it and I do my duties. Because we need each other. That's the basic truth. Imagine my Lasso Laws 2010 group. You want to be on that group. Yes, so.
You see, WhatsApp is Nima, did I not define you well? See Nima now, she's the one activist.
If you are talking about success, you will respect us. You will shut up your mouth on the Lasso Laws 2010 group. Because everybody is busy making their money and keeping quiet and lying low. They're respecting themselves. But the Lasso Laws 2012 group did something recently. A classmate of theirs had kidney issues and decided to do the promos. Usually, you would expect that they would have called because Nima is on TV. I found out on somebody, a magistrate from that class, on his status, that what is happening. So it's not like everybody is waiting for you to blow and come and disturb you. People know how to respect themselves. I think that what we're doing is sort of losing our humanity if we're not careful.
Okay, so
losing our humanity, what?
So you see, so let's find
because Reno was saying,
okay, so bringing in the balance. I get you. So you are saying that
general group.
We must having
network and be ready
is
to be
important.
there.
Okay, so I've heard both of them. The other side is sanity and protecting. Let me establish this. There is a part of I want to be close to these people I grew up with. We were in school together. They knew me when I was also.
We need
to help each other. Then BC is saying sometimes the sanity, you need to protect your sanity.
I had a small circle. I know a lot of people, but I had a small circle. But in that group, what Reno missed is that in his group, his own group, you have people with negativity who would just focus on bringing the big person down. But in my group, the first people to celebrate you are those on your group. So we have somebody do something. In my husband's set, they had one person single-handedly renovate the entire lab in school.
Okay, Nima, could it be that
and you can celebrate that, and you can highlight that as a position to promote why people should join their groups and be willing to
Nima,
I hear
Nima, and you're right. You know, that those groups have served very positively for many people. They have come and they have helped groups. But, you know, in that group, as positively as you have talked about that group, there are some people in your group that we feel marginalized.
Thank you.
That we feel that, it's because those of you that put money together, that's why you're encouraged, you feel positive about it, because they are your friends.
Yes.
You are in the same class.
Yes.
Oh, you're not thinking of us that are not of the same class as you.
In secondary school.
I understand. Yes. The thing is, for me personally, I understand all those intricacies and things like that. And I see some of them, I see the symptoms, but I choose to only focus on what I want to focus on, and I focus on the positive. But I would be naive to say that things like that do not occur. There are some people who behind feel that, I feel that we have been put aside or we're differentiated because we're not of a certain place, we're not from a certain group, or we didn't used to be in a certain group in class. But for right now, what I do in a group, what I choose, and for me, it's when I start to feel it's overwhelming, I take myself out. But the importance of that group is also very well, like you have stated, it has helped so many people, but we cannot be naive to say that it doesn't have its bad side. Simple.
So we have a call. Hassan has called in from Lekki. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Please, I want to say something about Edo and the President Association matter. Please, what is wrong with us in this part of the world? I don't see anything wrong in government compelling people to be vaccinated. They are doing it for our own good. Whatever we talk, we always resort to religion, we resort to constitutionalism. I don't see a place of this this kind of notion in religion and constitution. Religion enjoins us to take medication when we are sick. Religion enjoins us to be vaccinated. The same thing with legality. So where are we getting it from? Where is our mentality? Secondly, about association. In association, this association you are seeing, some people are there to make money. Some people are there for opportunistic reasons. Say it loud and clear. Most of the people, there are some people in their life, they believe in forming association to make money. Wherever they want to, in any group they find themselves, you see them trying to form a group. There's nothing wrong in having alumni. You understand? On objective ground, you can assist anybody.
Okay,
yeah,
so
may I say that, you know, I realized with these WhatsApp groups that people see you from where they met you. They judge you based on where they met you, and they put a full stop to you. So in the school, there are certain people that they saw and felt these people are the ones that are going to be successful in life because they were the best students. They had the best grades. They were the popular students. And then in real life, they're now realizing that this is not how life is. Even the ones that had names in school are nowhere to be found today. The ones that were seen as nothing now became somebody. So they find it difficult to relate to you at your new level. They want to relate to you at your past. And that is where the problem is. So what I understood was when I joined my university alumni group, you know, I realized that those ones were better friends. Those ones understood better. Those ones appreciated better. Those ones encouraged better. Were together because at the point that they met me in the university, it was different from those people who knew me from secondary school. So it's okay to be in a group and feel, this group is not serving me. This group is not working for me, and take yourself out. It doesn't mean you're not going to make friends tomorrow. It doesn't mean you're not going to build network tomorrow. It doesn't mean you're not going to have people who will look out for you tomorrow. You meet people as you go day to day. Whichever relationships don't serve you, it's okay to take a step back and build new ones. I have friends that I've known for years that I still carry along, that still carry me along today. I don't necessarily have to be in my secondary school WhatsApp group because it's not working for me.
Let me take Sadiq from Oshodi's contribution to this conversation. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure being on the program.
Thank you.
I've been listening to you guys discuss on this WhatsApp group alumni something. What I feel actually is that for everything in life, there is a good side and there's a bad side. Mm-hmm. But what we should be more after is if the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah.
And most of the times in this WhatsApp group alumni, they set out the intention probably primarily would mostly be for good. But at times people will always be people and bring the bad side into it.
Mm-hmm. True.
Nigeria is hard enough for everyone. We all know what we are going through right here in Nigeria. And we should not, as a matter of, we should not because of that now lose the humanity in us. Because I feel like if we come together to network, we should also be able to do things that would be good for the sake of humanity. So if people are using the network they have to like search for little help here and there, I don't think it's too much to ask. Because these are people you grew up with. These are people you were once friends with, that they knew you from the start. So I don't think it's going to be too much to ask if we...
Oh, this is why I need to make clarity. So I agree with you all totally. But the purpose of an alumni group is to be an alumni to the school that you finished from. It is a personal responsibility that you take. That's the clarity that you need. Setting your boundaries and knowing exactly what you're doing. So nobody on the group, because you have bad eggs everywhere in everything that you're doing. People will take advantage of you. People will try to do things. If you come to me from that group for something that I don't understand it to be for the purpose of the school I finished from, there's no basis. And I have just a few friends from school who we kept personal relationship, and that's what I continue with. So for the purpose of any group you belong to, for the purpose of that alumni group, you can have people who want to use you and all of those things. If you're clear as to that, you put them in their place. I had someone from my alumni from secondary school who once we met just thought, okay, can I have your number? And the next thing, every month would ask me for a debit. I did it a few times, and I did block her. We remained friends. She would see me, I would see her status, and I'll be quiet. And now everybody has respected themselves. That's how you set the boundaries. That person won't push me out of my alumni from doing something I want to do. It's clarity and setting boundaries and respecting yourself.
So I hear, I think we have, is the caller still there? Chief Obi?
Yes, please.
Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How is everybody? Good
morning. Very well, thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
Your live, please go ahead.
Okay, please. Nima, I can't but say a big shout out to you, Nima. You're just speaking my mind this morning. Okay, am I disappointed in you this morning? What are you talking about?
That's my experience, please. It's my personal experience.
Appreciating your childhood friends in the guise of WhatsApp group. Raymond Mockery, of course, has his own right to say whatever he feels. Nima, I feel you in and out every bit. Oh, Nima, where in the world will I see you and give you a big kiss? Okay, hold on, please, and let me say my mind. Okay, you can't tell me that because of some specific few in a group that doesn't like you or appreciate you or they expected you to be up or down when you are out there, and because of them, you now no longer be abreast with your childhood friends, people that knew you when you were just like them, when all of you are just finding your feet.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chief Obi. And it is important that we put it in perspective because we must understand our emotional well-being is very important.
Thank you.
And you cannot sacrifice your emotions and how you feel because of other people.
Yeah, also
and we need to, we need to understand that. And what works for you might not work for another person. Somebody else can segment the comments and put it, compartmentalize their emotions and still be able to be working. And another person will be broken by just one sentence.
Apart from that, we need to respect that people have their experiences and their authentic experiences.
Thank you.
So it will be, you know, really sad that someone would come here and say something just because it will sound nicer and it will garner more love from
the show is called Your View.
But it's important that we understand.
That's why the show is called Your View, so that we all express ourselves.
Everybody needs to understand that we have different experiences and would come from that part. That's what makes it authentic.
Now, that's all we can take of the show today. I would like to, we've shared a whole lot. You've missed if you're just joining us on the show. But concerning WhatsApp, I want also, everyone should prioritize their emotional well-being and how they feel. I also believe that we should all set boundaries when you are in those groups to protect yourself and respect people. If they choose to help you, respect them. If they choose not to help you, respect them, because your favor is not going to come from, it's not who you are expecting. You know, focus on you being a good person and respect those that, even if you think they're not good, still respect them. We can all add value in our little ways. Thank you so much for joining the show today. We had fun, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.